broadcast for anybody who's interested. On the back table, there are sheets if you want any more information on any of them. Also, our next council meeting will be August the 29th, so I think it's about 1 week later because of AMO, I guess. And also, tomorrow is the public presentation at the Brent Sports Complex for the Rust Acres Road Transportation Study. It starts at 6, and the presentation will be made at 6:30, and it carries on to about 8 o'clock. So those who are interested in that topic. Our attendance, we've checked. Seeking approval of the agenda. Approved by Councillor Miller, seconded by Councillor Cardy. And that was a good interview on TV with you and your wife.
Oh, thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
All in favor? Carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest if they come up. Delegations, we don't have any. Adoption of the minutes from previous meeting, that being July 4th. So we need someone to move that. Moved by Councillor Simons, seconded by Mayor Eddy. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any business arising from those minutes? That's the July 4th. Okay, so we're all right. Moving on to public hearings. Number 7, we don't have any. Number 8, public hearings under the Planning Act, and these are to consider staff recommendations. The first one on 8A is 10 Old Greenfield Road, ZBA 22-17. And we'll ask our planner to present this one, if he would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject lands are located at 10 Old Greenfield Road in the geographic township of Brantford. The applicant has received conditional consent to sever a surplus farm dwelling with an area of 1 hectare. This application proposes to rezone the 60-hectare retained lands from Agricultural A to Agricultural Special Provision A-9 to prohibit a dwelling unit. With regard to the Brant County official plan, the lands are designated as agricultural and natural heritage. It's planning staff's opinion that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the policies of the provincial policy statement and County of Brant official plan. No concerns were raised through the circulation of this application. It's being recommended that the application be approved. This concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Anyone from the committee who has a question of our planner at this time? Okay, seeing none. Is the delegation or an agent for this one present? Okay, if you would like to come to the front and...
It's not, oh, this is, sorry, I'm thinking the second.
No, just, if you have anything to add, sir, we'd be
No, I
glad.
don't have anything to add.
You're okay?
No.
All right. Turning to the public, anyone who wants to comment or make a question on this application? Asking a second time and a third time. Okay, we'll close that part. How would the committee like to deal with this one? Councillor Coleman? Okay, Councillor Wheat, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next is 8B. This is 384 Burford Delhi Town Line, ZBA 22-17. We'll ask our planner to present this one as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject of the lands are located at 384 Burford Delhi Town Line Road in the geographic township of Burford. The applicant has received conditional consent to sever a surplus farm dwelling with an area of 0.45 hectares. This application proposes to rezone the 35-hectare retained lands from Agricultural A to Agricultural Special Provision A-9 to prohibit a dwelling unit. With regard to the Brant County official plan, the lands are designated as agricultural. It is planning staff's opinion that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the policies of the provincial policy statement and County of Brant official plan. No concerns were raised through the circulation of this application. It is being recommended that the application be approved. This concludes my comments. Thank you.
Anyone on the committee a question for the planner? If we have the agent or some representative on this one present? Okay, seeing none, we'll turn this over to the public. Anyone a question or a comment on this particular one? Asking a second time? Seeing none, asking a third time? Okay. Turning to the committee, what would you like to do with this particular one? Councillor Miller? Okay. Councillor Coleman? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, going on to 8C then. Okay.
Ready? Yeah.
Going on to Mike Robinette, 10 Maple Avenue North, ZBA 26-17. And we'll ask our planner to present this one, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is located on the east side of Maple Ave North, north of King Street in the village of Burford. Lands are bounded by single-family dwellings to the west, the Maple Avenue School immediately to the south, and a vacant residential lot presently in hay production to the north and east. This application proposes to rezone the subject lands to allow for the construction of an oversized accessory structure. Presently, there are a number of accessory structures on the property. The owner wishes to remove some of the existing structures to facilitate the construction of a larger structure that would be used to house an existing car collection. The owner has provided an overview of his collection and some of the history of the vehicles he has, and that was attached to the planning report. The subject lands are about 3/4 of an acre in size. The proposed accessory structures would equate to less than 10% of the lot coverage. As the proposed structures are situated at the rear of the property, staff feels the impact on the adjacent residential uses is minimized. So we are of the opinion that the rezoning is consistent with the provincial policy statement in the County of Brant official plan, and recommending approval of the application.
Anyone on the committee a question of the planner at this time? No one wishes to go out to see these cars? Okay, if the agent or the applicant for this one present, if you want to add some, sir, if you could come to the podium, if you wouldn't mind, please. And if you gave your name and address.
My name is Mike Robinette, and I live at 10 Maple with my wife Gail. I guess I want to speak about something that I have quite a passion for. I've been building or assembling a collection that is based around the first Honda automobile to be marketed in Canada. And a lot of people aren't aware of it because it was sold in small numbers, 1965, 1966. And as an owner of a few Hondas, I accidentally found out about these little cars. The first Hondas that were sold in Canada were not very practical. A little 10.5-foot long sports car that has a lot of motorcycle technology built into them with a final chain drive. And they're quite unique, quite rare, and I guess through meeting other people and people saying, well, here, you could have this car, I don't want it anymore. Some of them were given to me, some of them I sought out, and the collection actually is kind of almost like a who's who of motorsport at that time, who were racing these at Mossport and so on. It actually won its class in 1965 at Mossport in the Sundown Grand Prix. I don't know if you're familiar with that event. But anyway, these cars, I believe, are historically significant to the auto history of Canada. And I just wanted to tell the story. A lot of people weren't aware of these, even dealers. Now with the internet, I think a lot of people are now aware of these vehicles. But at first, when I got started, you would go to a dealer and ask about them, and they say, "What are you talking about?" You know, they wouldn't even know they existed. So I happen to own a bevy of these, or a few of them, and the collection right now is just crammed into the existing buildings that I have. Things that I put up with the idea this is just going to be temporary, but it kind of dragged on longer than I really wanted it to. But now I would like your support to have a proper building in which I can spread the vehicles out so they could be displayed. I don't want it to be a burden on neighbors. It would be done by appointment. It would be done to individuals. It would be done with small groups. But eventually, what I'm saying, I guess, I'm just kind of going over some of the things you might have in the notes that you've read. I would like to see this go into the Canadian, as a Canadian body as a whole. I would like to see it continue. You know, once I'm not able to do anything with the collection because of health and whatnot, I would like to see it possibly become part of a museum or an exhibit. And in the letter that I presented to Mr. Davidson, I had explained how I thought locally it would be great if it could be part of maybe a transportation museum. And I mentioned some sites, and possibly even the airport tied in with support from the city of Brantford. I know we have different museums around the county, but you know, with the tractor club and the interest, there was quite a nice show at the airport last Saturday, car exhibit along with some old aircraft, and maybe something eventually could come of that, where this could be part of that. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to impress on you, it's something I have quite a passion for, and something that I've been at 25 plus years, I guess, gathering things. And I'm also working on a book on the topic, and I've had a lot of fun with it, met people across Canada, interviewed a lot of people, did a lot of research. I have a wealth of information that I want to share with this book, and also when people come around to view the collection. So I'm hoping that I can get the support to have this oversized building, and you have a floor plan of the vehicles roughly to scale to kind of give you an idea of how I might lay them out so that people could walk around them. Right now, if you were to come in to look at some of my collection, you would have to be able to squeeze through a lot of small spaces. In some cases, I have one car about 2 inches from the wall, and other cars that are maybe 3 or 4 inches apart. You know, it's pretty tight. So anyway, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to bore people. I sometimes get into this topic and people start asking questions, and then I can see their eyes start to roll towards the back of their head, you know, they just... So anyway, so I'm seeking your support for this proposal. So if you have any questions,
Yeah, anyone on the committee would like to ask a question of our delegate? Okay, I guess they're okay. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
We'll turn it over to the public at this time. Is there anyone in the audience that has a question or a comment about this gentleman's car collection and what he wishes to do? Asking a second time and a third time, and turning to the committee, how would you like to deal with this presentation? Councilor Chambers? Okay, Councilor Miller? Seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, over to 9B1, the Brand Heritage Committee minutes. Okay, moved by Councilor Coleman, second by Councilor Miller. Any questions about the committee report? Okay, all those in favor of receiving? Opposed? Carried. On to 11A. That's the pre-servicing agreement. Someone from our staff comment on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is another request that we've got for a pre-servicing agreement for the Granville subdivision, also known as Arlington Meadows. So what they are hopeful of doing is moving forward with the pre-servicing of the remainder of their second phase and the beginning of the third phase of their subdivision in advance of the subdivision agreement being registered. We're on our fifth engineering submission that we've received, and we feel we're very close. The intent of this is to allow them to get some infrastructure in the ground in advance of the subdivision agreement being registered. So here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the committee about this Granville application? Councilor Carey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to Marcus. Marcus, the pre-servicing agreement, is it similar to the agreements we've done with the properties across the street that haven't been built yet?
Yeah, through Mr. Chairman, it's almost identical. The difference between this one and the others is this one actually does have a stormwater outlet secured. That's the difference between the pre-servicing agreements that we've done, so they're actually much further ahead on their engineering.
Thank you. Amen.
Anyone else, any questions on this particular one? Marcus, does that involve that road they've been working on, comes off King Edward Street near the Meisner Road?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chairman, it would include the lands, that connection. It does.
And how many homes are they looking at in the kind of near future?
I believe, and there's two areas in which they're going to be working on. One is on that northwest corner, and the second is on the southeast corner, down around the Sobey site, and I believe it's in the neighborhood of about 150 units.
Okay, thank you. Asking committee, how would you like to deal with this report from Marcus? Councilor Coleman? Okay. Councilor Simons seconds it. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Uh, 12, communications.
There's one more
Oh.
staff report.
Oh, we missed that. Okay, 11B, the update on the order of planning application. That's Marcus again is going to say something, or? That's the 11B.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just again, there was some discussion and dialogue in previous Planning Advisory Committee agendas as to why surplus farm dwellings in the A9 severance or rezonings were not coming to this committee first. So we dug out our old report, which was about 4 years ago. So that was the direction that we had received at that time. So that's for information purposes for committee.
Anyone on the committee, a question of Marcus on the report? Okay, how would you like to deal with that particular one? Councillor Cardy?
Move to receive.
Okay. Second by Councillor Wheat. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 12A, consultation for potential new edition of the building code. We have a sheet on that. Now, is there any staff input at this time on that 12A? So,
No, we just put on here for information, so the committee's aware that there's going to be consultation coming up, and we'll be participating in that. So this just came in, I think, about a week ago, so just for information.
okay. Councillor Cardy?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what he had to say. Sorry, Mark. Could you come to the microphone, please? Thank you.
Sure, it's just in for information purposes only. We just received this. It's notification of upcoming consultation on building code changes, so we'll be participating in it and seeing what comes out of the province.
Anyone else? Any questions on it? How would the committee like to deal with 12A then? Councillor Cardy?
Move to receive.
Okay. Second, Mayor Ron Eddy. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Down to other business, there's none listed. General manager's update.
Just three things to update. I'll try to be pretty quick here since everybody else has been quick before me. We had last week a neighborhood meeting for 155 King Edward. It was a neighborhood meeting with the public to get input. They're looking to advance this in September. We will be bringing a planning report on the rezoning and the site plan at the September meeting with a recommendation. Some councillors had attended that meeting, and I think they heard the same sort of thing that our staff had heard, that there are some concerns about the design, height of buildings. So the developers heard it as well, and they want to advance it regardless of what staff's position will be on it. So we can expect that to come forward in September. There is also an OMB hearing coming up for Thursday and Friday of this week, and it's for the Oak Avenue development, which is Schuyler. So 2 days have been scheduled for that, Thursday and Friday, and it'll be here in council chambers, yes. So that's just kind of a reminder. Also, Brookfield had received pre-servicing agreement that was approved by council. We're expecting construction's going to happen on their site probably early next week. So when you start seeing equipment on the site, on the property digging around, it's all related to the pre-servicing agreement that they got approved from council, I think it was about a week or two ago. One final thing, council had approved a review of fees, and we've reached out to the consultant, and we're setting up some meetings mid-August to begin that, to kick it off with a few staff from different departments who are involved with processing of applications. So we're getting going on that. The hope is that the goal is to get the fee review done before budget. So at least you have some information you can base budget decisions on. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Anyone on the committee have a question of Mark at this time? Okay, seeing none, thanks, Mark. In camera, we have a verbal update, so We'll have to, Counselor Cardy?
Move to go on camera?
Okay. Second by Counselor Coleman. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.